Lolita, light of my life, fire of my loins, my sin, my soul, Lolita.
Hello, it is Skylar, and today I'm going to talk about things that I think people should know before they get into Nymphet fashion. So, before I decided to really get into Nymphet fashion, but mainly when I decided or was thinking about posting Nymphet fashion related things on the internet, I had to make deals with myself in my head about okay, if I'm going to do this, I have to accept that this will be a reaction. Just so other people can also prepare themselves for what's going to come when they wear Nymphet fashion, I thought I should make a video about it. Some things are more negative and some are more positive, so it's not all bad, but it's stuff that I think everyone should know. Okay, so the first thing I think that people should know is that not everyone will be okay with Nymphet fashion, and that's fine, but I think some people try and make it their goal to convince everyone else around them that Nymphet fashion is literally just a fashion and it's not a kink, and Nymphet fashion is good, it's not bad, trying to make everyone get on their side, which I completely understand their feelings, because I would like to be able to do that too, but you have to accept that some people are just going to be cemented to their opinion that what you're doing is bad and what you're doing is wrong and it's hurting others. So just accept that you can't change everyone's mind, because it's not going to happen. So I think a better goal within Nymphet fashion for you to do is just to present information. If you make posts on the internet about Nymphet fashion, all you have to do is literally just be a good representative. What being a good representative means, it could mean a few things. There's a lot of ways you can go about it. So you can simply post fashion content. You don't really even have to talk about the book or the movie or anything, but if you're just into Nymphet fashion and you just post pictures of your Nymphet fashion outfits, that's perfectly fine. That's wonderful, as long as you're not sexualizing it. Once you sexualize it, then yeah, you look bad, obviously. But if you're just posting normal outfit photos, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Another way you can be a good representative is by posting Nymphet fashion or Nymphet related things, but also maybe giving tips about the fashion. Sometimes I like to explain certain things that look Nymphet and why they look Nymphet, or certain motifs you should look out for. There's different tips, so you can just provide everyone with the information they need in order to get into the fashion or in order to make the fashion easier for them. Another way you can go about being a good representative is by being a lot more blunt, a lot more vocal about not sexualizing the fashion, or talking even about the novel more, about the realities of the actual story of Lolita. There's still a decent amount of people who think that the story of Lolita is promoting pedophilia. There's also people that think that Dolores was into older guys, or she had a daddy kink, which is absolutely not true. So if you can make posts that educate people into understanding that that isn't the actual Lolita, that's not, those people are just making up stuff in their head about what they think Lolita is. One thing I do want to bring up right now is that I started a tag that you can use on Instagram or Tumblr or whatever. The tag is just no kink Nymphet. With this tag, I wanted to be able to bring together all the people within the Nymphet fashion community who are very much so against the sexualization of Nymphet fashion or Lolita. They just simply like the fashion. So if we can get more people using this tag, we can all come together and be representatives then. We can just make good examples of the fashion, because a lot of outsiders, I think they always see the negative stuff, the gross stuff. So if we can show that there are normal people in the fashion, that would be wonderful. So please use the no kink Nymphet tag. I think it would be very good for the community. Another point I think that everyone should know before they get into the fashion is that really most people will be nice to you. When I first posted my first Nymphet fashion video, I thought that everything was going to be really bad from then on, as soon as I posted that video, because of how controversial Nymphet fashion is. But really, that's not the reality of it all. Everyone was very nice to me, and still to this day, people are extremely nice to me. Yeah, every so often, I get people who don't see what I see when it comes to Nymphet fashion, or people who are just outright rude, but they're definitely the minority. The majority of people will be nice to you. I don't think you have to be so scared when you're trying to get into the fashion. Understand that there's already a big community of Nymphet fashion girls. The girls will help you. Don't worry about the other people. Another point I want to make is that some people will talk badly about you on the internet, whether it's on your own posts or other websites on the internet. There's always going to be people who will say negative things, whether it's constructive criticism or if it's just outright rude. rude. So you have to learn how to take that. If it's constructive criticism, don't worry about it, it's fine. But if it's completely just rude, the best thing to do is ignore it. Sometimes there's people on my posts who are ready to have like discussions with me, and I'm completely open to that. I like talking with anyone about Nymphet fashion, as long as they're not rude. You have to know when to pick your battles, okay? Like, some battles really aren't any kind of battle. It's just like trying to see what the other person sees, while like in other situations it's really just a battle and there's no like good conclusion to it. So if people are like, I don't know, talking about your physical appearance or like making fun of the clothes you're wearing, or maybe they do have a negative image of Nymphet fashion, but they're not trying to be civil with you about it. Like, they're not interested in trying to understand it. They're just ready to bash you, right? They're just ready to argue, and that's it. That's all they want. The best thing to do is just to ignore them, really. Just move on. So let's talk about another separate group of people who will also try to talk to you on the internet. That is, of course, the old guys. If you're a female and you're on the internet, there's always going to be like middle-aged men trying to talk to you. I think some people think that if you're in like the Nymphet fashion community and you're posting pictures online, then that's going to attract like tons of old guys. Like, I'm not exactly saying that it's wrong, but I don't really think it's specifically because you're posting Nymphet fashion like content. Ever since like I started like posting myself on the internet, when I was more so into like, I don't know, very basic cute Japanese fashion, or like posting Japanese dance covers, when I was doing that too, there were always tons of like old men trying to talk to me. The best way to deal with that is to either, one, completely ignore it, or two, a lot of the time what I end up doing is I always restrict their comments. And what restricting their comments does, it's not really like blocking. What'll happen is when you restrict the comment, all of the comments that they made on your page will disappear, but the person who made the comment, they'll still think that the comment is there, and they're still able to write comments, but it won't show to anyone. And you can do that on YouTube and Instagram. Yeah, that's what I do if I get people who I don't really want on my page trying to talk to me. So another tip I can give you before you get into Nymphet fashion is exactly where to start when it comes to the fashion. Like, some people don't really know where to start, like what's Nymphet and what isn't. Some ways to be instantly Nymphet, so that's like high-waisted skirts, high-waisted shorts, fitted tops or off-the-shoulder tops. Puffy sleeves are really good. Peter Pan colors are also really good. Patterns like gingham and floral, red lipstick, red nail polish, Oxford shoes, white folded socks also look really good. Clothes that have like lace detailing on them, and of course heart-shaped glasses are the perfect thing to complete your Nymphet fashion outfit. So I think this is a good part to move on to another point that I have, and that is that you don't have to show skin when it comes to Nymphet fashion. Because I think a lot of girls, they're very like worried that they have to show a lot of skin, and they're just not comfortable with that, which you can take Nymphet fashion in that way. And there's a lot of things in Nymphet fashion that do like require you to show skin, which would be the crop tops with the like high-waisted shorts or something. It's also pretty common to show like a lot of like your arms and shoulders and like the chest area. That is a part of Nymphet fashion, but there are so many other sub-styles or ways you can take Nymphet fashion. Like, sometimes there are times when I do feel like showing more skin, but for the majority of time, I'm more of like a fairy, cute, modest kind of fashion person when it comes to Nymphet fashion. Like, something like this dress I think would be really perfect, because you can see this dress completely covers my body. I'm not like showing much of anything. And this cut of dress really looks similar to that blue and white dress that Dolores wore in the movie. So I would recommend looking into other sub-styles within Nymphet fashion. I made a video on it, which I will maybe put some sort of link to it in the corner there. But yeah, don't think that you have to like show tons of skin to wear Nymphet fashion, because it's not the case. Another thing you should understand before you get into the fashion is that you don't have to have any certain physical appearance in order to wear the fashion. Like, I think a lot of people think that they have to be short, they have to be pale, they have to be really skinny, or like they have to look like a little girl in order to get into the fashion, and that's not it at all. Nymphet fashion is literally just fashion, therefore it's literally just clothes. If you can put clothes on your body, you can wear Nymphet fashion. I would also like to encourage like many other kinds of people getting into the fashion, because I recognize that there are a lot of like inspiration posts that do include like short, pale, white girls that are into the fashion, but like in order to add more representation, you have to get into the fashion yourself, you know? If you would post your own Nymphet fashion content, that would encourage others to get into the fashion too, because then they can understand that this fashion isn't for a specific kind of person, it's for literally everyone. So yeah, please get into Nymphet fashion. Another big point that I want to make before you get into the fashion is that Nymphet fashion is a fashion. It is not a kink, kink, please do not try and make it a kink. Nymphet fashion has zero relation with daddy kinks or like old man kink. And I don't understand why people try to make it that way. Cause like Dolores was never into older guys. She was never into like any sort of daddy fetish. But like some girls are like really persistent on trying to make it that. And it's not that at all. Maybe it's cause Lana Del Rey. I'm sorry, the songs are catchy, but god, those lyrics. But yeah, when you post like Nymphet fashion related content along with something that's sexualizing it, you make everybody look bad. And you yourself, you look bad. Because you understand that Dolores Hayes was 12 years old and Humbert Humbert was like 37. Don't try and make that goals. That's not an aesthetic. The Nymphet aesthetic is like, it's cherries, it's gingham, it's picnics, it's like lots of greenery, butterflies, flowers, daisies, all of that kind of stuff. That's like the perfect Nymphet aesthetic. Isn't an aesthetic. Don't try to make it. For my very last point, I want to point out that the word Lolita, it has many meanings. There are also two fashions that sort of get like mixed up sometimes, and they really shouldn't. That is Japanese Lolita fashion and of course Nymphet fashion. See, this is really difficult for me because there are Japanese fashion magazines like Larm who do call Nymphet fashion Lolita fashion. Therefore, like, I can understand if people would want to call Nymphet fashion Lolita fashion, but at the same time, if you tag your posts like that, like on Instagram or Tumblr or whatever, your Nymphet fashion posts are just gonna get lost in like all the Japanese Lolita fashion posts. So there's literally no reason to do that. It's a lot easier to use like a completely separate term for the fashion. Like the fashions are so different, so we don't really want them to mix because it just gets confusing to everyone else. Some other like tags that end up getting mixed is like sweet Lolita or classic Lolita, because those specific terms, they're already being used for like sub-styles within Japanese Lolita fashion. Those terms, they don't really have anything to do with Nymphet fashion at all compared to the word Lolita, where obviously that's the title of the novel, so yeah, it's going to be paired with the word Nymphet sometimes. But like sweet Lolita, let the Japanese Lolita fashion people have that term. In my Nymphet fashion substyles video, I made some different terms that maybe we could possibly use. For example, I see some people trying to use the term classic Lolita when they're trying to talk about a style that looks like it can like come out from the movie, like directly inspired from the outfits within the movie. For that style, I like to call it literal Lolita, just because it flows very well. Because the term literal Lolita, that's not being used within like the Japanese fashion like Lolita community. So I think using the term literal Lolita is just fine. When it comes to sweet Lolita, I made terms like, what did I say, like bubblegum Nymphet or like pop Nymphet. Something like that would be really good, I think. And I'm not trying to like push to use my terms or anything. Like we can all decide to use some other different term for those specific sub-styles, but yeah, I'm just trying to inform people that try and not mix the two fashions because things just get confusing. Okay, so I think that is all of my tips. If you have like other tips or other questions you want to ask me, then you can write them in the comments and I will try and answer your questions, or I'm sure other people would be very happy to hear other tips. So please leave me a comment below. Thank you for watching this video, and please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and please follow me on Instagram, okay? So, bye-bye.